And the super cool thing about custom implants is that it can literally be whatever you want. It can be as dramatic, as subtle, whatever you need. So I want to show you a couple of different examples of implants so you have an idea of how much range there is in designing these. So here's an example of a patient who wanted a really dramatic implant. He wanted a lot of brow bone projection and a really thick orbital rim to try to give the kind of hunter eye look. So in this case, we did a lot of brow bones, 7 millimeters. Over the orbital rim, maximum projection is 12 millimeters. So that's a big implant. On the heat map, which is a map of how projected it is at different spots, you can see orbital rims are very projected, 12 millimeters, but the frontal bossing is also quite projected. And then here's someone who's pretty much the opposite, wanted a really subtle augmentation. So 5 millimeters at the orbital rim, and then just a little augmentation for almost less at the center. And then here's another patient who had a very round, very curved forehead. So I made this implant a little bit differently, a lower augmentation of the brow bone, and still with some pretty significant projection at the orbital rim, but kind of an in-between measure. And here's another example of a patient who also wanted something in between, some brow bone, heavier orbital rim, but had pretty significant asymmetry between the two eyes. And so you can see here on the patient's right, your left, that the implant had to be made differently so that the implant's a little thicker on that side, so that from the side profile, they stand out the same amount. So for me, the implant creation process is really, it's art. And so I use my craniofacial knowledge to look at your skeleton, see where you naturally have bumps and dips and curves, and then work with you to make a custom brow bone implant that exaggerates the natural contours of your forehead, exaggerates your brow ridge, however much or little you want. But it's not as simple as just slapping an implant in there. The implant has to be designed specifically for you, for each patient, based on their own anatomy, their own skeleton, and their own wants and needs. And that's just the part that I think is so cool about plastic surgery, is it's really able to combine some really cool technology with surgical skills and also with artistry. So custom brow bone implant, not something that everybody knows about, but it's really a great addition to facial masculinization surgery.